Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me today on the Speak, Inspire, and Love Leadership podcast, where we battle hard questions relating to leadership. Our goal on this podcast is to work with middle managers and subordinates. Our dream would be to fix issues that can create a toxic work environment for leaders and subordinates. But today we have an amazing guest. We have Ella Pritsker. She is an amazing, renowned, everything great fashion designer in Baltimore, Maryland. And she has just been a great friend over the last, I would say, decade, and just a great inspiration. So I'm going to give her an opportunity to do a little bit of an introduction, and you are going to just be blown away for the next hour with all the amazing things that she has to say about leadership, entrepreneurship, business, faith. I mean, everything you can think of. You know, Ella has been on that journey. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce my friend, Ella Pritsker.
Oh, hi, Jeanette. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast. It is a true pleasure, and I'm just so proud of you and so happy to be here with you. Thank you so much. Over the last 30 years, since I came to the United States, I have become a dressmaker, a fashion designer. And
you forgot the word amazing.
Well, you can add that. I think I'm just simply loving what I do and continue to improve on everything I know and learn more of everything that I love doing. And I just really like and really enjoy learning every day. Something that I do every day. And I think that's something that we all should do every day.
Yes,
keep learning.
You're absolutely right. Stay in greatness, right? And I just want to give you guys a background about me and Ella's friendship. Several years ago, I had a great idea to create a sports bra, and I wanted this to be a unique sports bra. This sports bra was intended to serve plus size women, because we know plus size women are underserved in the fashion industry in a lot of areas. And what I discovered, that particular area was the area of athletics. So I looked under the best fashion designer in the world under the Yellow Pages, and wow, Ella's name was first on that list.
I'm smiling listening to you. I'm grinning ear to ear. Such a great memory. Oh, wow. What a great memory.
Thank you.
Had such tenacity about your project. You just wanted to get that done, and you were going to do it, and I loved it.
Yeah. And, Ella began to work with me. I took a couple of courses in her fashion design school, and I still had that amazing brown plaid skirt. And she walked me through that whole process of making that skirt. My first design was a skirt, and I learned to make that in her school.
And you did a great job. You did an amazing job.
And, just fast forwarding a little bit, one of the things that Ella wanted to do for all of her students, she took us all on an overnight trip to New York City, the heart of the U.S. fashion industry. We went down and she showed us where to buy. I mean, everybody, you had students in the class that were making full lines. I mean, they were making costumes, so many different things. And we get down to New York City, and she just kind of, take us to some of the best restaurants and just give us the best introduction into the industry. So that was an amazing, in that picture we took together standing on the middle, I forgot what the name of the restaurant was, but I still have that photo. And it was just, an amazing experience. So since then, I'm sure Ella has touched the lives of many aspiring fashion designers. She has given her time, talent, and resources to so many people. And, it's just amazing. When did your interest in fashion design begin? What inspired you to take this journey?
Well, thank you, Jeanette. I have to say that picture that you're talking about that we took at Bergdorf Goodman is probably one of my favorite pictures of all time. And every single January 17th on my birthday, I expect that picture to pop up on my timeline because you posted it on my birthday. And I love it. I just love it. What a great memory. What a great memory. Thank you. But yes, I love designing clothes. I love what I do. And the way that it started was really, it wasn't fashion design per se that I was intrigued by. The way it started is I was reading back in Russia when I was young, very, very young. I was reading books. It was one of the first books that really piqued my interest in couture clothing was War and Peace by Tolstoy. And then some books and stories by Turgenev and Onegin's Tatiana, of course, was the ultimate in charm and chic. And all of the descriptions of those dresses and all of the details in those descriptions were just so fascinating. And my imagination was just, I was infatuated with all of the details of clothing and all of the dresses, period dresses that they were describing in those books. And then later, when I was in Italy, I had the pleasure of meeting women that have introduced me to some of their clothing that they were working on or designing and sewing, and they helped me learn some of the techniques. And I was absolutely mesmerized by little embroideries and hand overcast seams and all of the stitches perfect in a row. It was so beautiful. It was so beautiful. It touched my heart. And I said, I want to do this for the rest of my life.
Wow.
I want to learn how to do this well. I want to perfect and master the skill of couture sewing. And that's what inspired me. That's how I realized that I dreamed of it all my life up until that point. And I continue to dream so. It just continues to be my dream, my heart's desire, my passion.
I mean, you have done a great job. Wow. I mean, over the years, first coming to this country, I know you might have faced a lot of challenges and different things that might have discouraged you. But from what I'm seeing, the sky is the limit for you. And I really do believe that your talent, which ties into your entrepreneurship and the way you give back, the way you just do so many things for people in the community. I mean, how do you relate fashion to entrepreneurship? You're your own boss. You make your own schedule. You've had employees working for you, but how do you balance entrepreneurship and fashion design?
Well, first of all, let me just correct this assumption. Nobody works for you. People work with you. And I have been very blessed to have people on my team that loved and were passionate about couture art and were passionate about learning and exploring. And the only way I can describe my studio here is our workspace it's heaven. It's quiet. Sometimes it's bustling with energy when we are working on something and designing and working on a project. But a lot of times, and what I love most about it is it's quiet and we are just all working, listening to either a book or a podcast or music. We just love it here. And we share this common passion, common goal, and really love being here together, working together. Such an enjoyable place to be.
Right. So it seems like, you have been able to make a connection between leadership, fashion design. And I've been in the space, that you're referring to, your studio, and it's very serene. Sometimes I remember when I would walk in, I would just see everybody, although you guys are in the same space and in that same energy together, it was just like this calmness, I'm sure you might have had times of chaos and uproar when maybe something was very urgent. You were meeting an urgent deadline, but I've always admired how the energy among everybody was just so calm and so peaceful. I mean, that's influence, right? I really do believe that example, which you're referring to, is great influence.
It's peace. I always say that we have peace here. It's our little slice of heaven. We create beautiful things, and we want our atmosphere to be nourishing that creativity. And not taking away from it. So it has to be harmonious. It has to be balanced. It has to be peaceful. It just has to feel good. You have to be able to create from that space where you are not afraid of anything, where you are just at peace and really just have that peace of mind. But there are, of course, times when it's really, really intense and really bustling. And there's a lot of people sometimes here, and sometimes we are all working and all you hear is machines going and everybody's just really helping each other out, trying to get everything done. And sometimes it's a really, really high energy, but that kind of thing is unsustainable. So we have to balance it out always. So
Exactly. But I'm sure, you faced challenges with, finding your way in the fashion industry when you came to America. So my question to you, what made you stick it out and continue to pursue your dream? I mean, what was that 1, 2, or 3 particular things that just said, you know what? This is me. I'm definitely going to stick it out. Just kind of tell the listeners about some of the challenges that you faced with finding your way in fashion.
Yes, I never thought of it as breaking into an industry. To me, the way it evolved is I had to feed my son. I was a single mom and I had to provide shelter and put food on my table so that I could provide a home for my son. And the only thing I knew how to do is to make clothes. And what I wanted to do is create beautiful things. And so it just was never like, I'm going to be in the fashion industry. It was just something that I loved doing and I wanted to do more of it so that I could feed my son. At the time, there were dressmakers in the area, of course, and those who created beautiful clothes and talented seamstresses, but their services were viewed as home sewing. And I wanted to elevate our work for everyone's sake to a level of professional services. So kind of like the medical services, the law services, and so on. And I wanted to elevate our couture services to that level because it takes years and years of practice and years of mastering our skills. It takes a lot of time, just like it would take a lot of time for a lawyer for an attorney to learn their skill and gain a practice. It takes the same amount of time. So I wanted to elevate our services to that level. And it takes a lot of time and patience.
Interesting that you say that, it takes a lot of time and a lot of patience, but I have watched you over the years and I mean, all the interviews and all the spreads that, that you've been doing in the magazines. I mean, I would consider you a leader in that industry. I mean, an expert in the industry here in Maryland and maybe abroad, way abroad. You have done some amazing things with fashion, all the pretty and the beautiful wedding dresses, all the gowns. And I see all these pictures you post about how the families, are finally getting a chance to celebrate those gowns and those dresses at their particular event, regardless if it's a child's wedding or regardless. But I mean, your work is really, really just influential. And you mentioned, your team. Let's kind of go back to that a little bit. When you talk about your team that you work with, do you feel that you are being like an inspiration to them, which one day when it's time for Ella to retire on the beach, somewhere with your feet in the sand?
That is never going to happen.
What? Never going to happen?
No, I will never retire because I love what I do. That's retirement. What is retirement? How do you retire from life you love? But there's just no such thing.
But what about passing the baton, for the next generation?
I don't have to retire to pass on the baton. I want to just stay involved. And I really would like to continue to do what I love for the rest of my days.
Right.
There's definitely room for everybody in this arena and in one way or another. And my team is an inspiration to me.
Right.
To continue to keep going. And everybody who calls me and says, I'd like to learn from you is an inspiration to me. And I'm continually being inspired by people who want to learn. And I'm so happy that happens because we have to pass our skills along to those who want to learn.
we talked about this before. When you get those phone calls and people are like, hey, Ella, my name is such and such, I want to be an entrepreneur. I've been watching your work. Can you help me?
Music to my ears. Music to my ears. I love it. I love it. I want more people to become entrepreneurs and go after their dreams. And it makes me so happy. And it wakes me up every day and gets me out of bed, and to be able to help somebody to achieve their dreams. To give somebody tools and skills and know-how, teach them how to do it and show them how to do it, and sort of kind of guide them along on their way to entrepreneurship and on their way to achieving their dreams, because that is my passion, is to help other people achieve their dreams. That's what I love about my life.
It's obvious, all the energy and everything you put into it. This completely is, obvious that you love what you do. But what type of advice, like if I was to come to you to say, hey, Ella, this is what I want to do. If I say, hey, I want to come to you and I want to learn about buttons or different type of stitchings for my particular garments, and you give this advice to people that come to you, but you notice that at one point or another, they might get a little bit discouraged. What would you tell me if you wanted me to get back on track? You knew this dream was for me. What would you tell a person who it looks like they're kind of losing their way and kind of losing their faith?
Well, my advice is always never quit. Never give up on your dream. Remember why you started. And that it is usually in our darkest times, at our lowest points, when we become overcome with doubt and fear and uncertainty, that's when it is time to really encourage ourselves. Sometimes there are people on our way that will help us and encourage us, but sometimes there aren't. Sometimes there won't be anyone to encourage you. So you have to learn how to encourage yourself. And the way that I've learned to best encourage yourself is to call someone and encourage someone else. To encourage someone else, to give them hope, to give them a sense of, just keep going, a sense of there is light at the end of the tunnel, you can do it, and give them that encouragement. And I guarantee you that encouragement will bounce right back at you and give you yourself hope and give you inspiration to keep going. And the only way is to really keep going. Just keep going. Difficulties will happen. And you can always, no matter how hard it is, you can always take that small step. You can always continue to move in a forward motion, even if it's just crawling one little itty step at a time. And the key to success is consistency. No matter what you do, no matter what field you're in, consistency is the key. You just have to keep at it. It doesn't even matter what it is and how big a step or how small a step, you just have to keep going.
Exactly. And you mentioned that, okay, we are going to face those failures. There's going to be those things that come into our life, those one-offs that like, oh man, is this really what I should be doing? Kind of share with the audience, what was your failure? I'm sure you've had some challenges. What was the one thing that possibly could have turned around Ella Pritsker Couture? Has there ever been a time where this dream and your vision almost did not happen? And if there was, what kind of turned you around and be like, you know what? Faint not. If there was any, just kind of share that with us.
Yes. There was a moment in time when I really just threw in a towel. And I said, well, maybe this business stuff is just not for me. That was the after effects of September 11th. I had so many trunk shows scheduled. I think there were something like 11 trunk shows scheduled. And it was a big investment of time and resources for me. And every single thing, I don't know if you remember, after September 11th, everything was canceled. Every
Yes.
single event was canceled. Nobody was comfortable going places, kind of like right now.
Yes. Yes.
But I really didn't think I was going to make it. I really didn't think I was going to make it through that difficult time. It was very discouraging that everything was canceled. And I really took a few steps back. I left my commercial studio and I moved my business into my home at that time and started working from home. That time propelled me on a road to self-discovery, self-improvement, and really reassessing my own values, what was important to me. Shortly after that, I married my husband and we had a child together whom I was blessed to stay home and bring up until he went to school. So I was a stay-at-home mom. After a few years, I knew that I definitely, as much as I enjoyed being a mommy, full-time mommy, and as much as I love my son and wanted to stay as long as I could and do as many things I possibly could with him while he was young, I knew that I was meant to be in the field that I was in. And I've received so many phone calls about teaching that I decided that I would open a school, that I would go back in a new capacity, that I would start teaching people that wanted to learn the skills of the trade. And I thought about that a lot. From the very time that I came to the United States, actually, it was about the time that I arrived in 90s. I came here in 1990. It was about that time that I witnessed the garment industry's mass exodus and all work being shipped overseas, and all of the little boutiques and mom and pop shops and local shops and local makers were closing their doors, and large scale retailers were entering the picture. And every single mall had a shop from a large chain store. And all the clothes were looking the same, and they were all the same color, they were all the same style, and we have had that for quite some time. This was definitely a shift in our culture. And then I knew at that time that what we absolutely needed to do is we needed to bring our manufacturing back to the United States, back to our own communities, so that we could train and hire and give meaningful and purposeful work to our own citizens, our own people, that would in turn invest into their own communities and open centers where there could be life-enriching programs. And we have to do that. And I think that now we are seeing the pendulum swinging back, where manufacturing is coming back to the United States, and a lot more people are willing and wanting to support the local makers, the local shops. And I think that trend will continue because of this pandemic. We have actually learned, I think, that we have to support our own communities so that our communities will prosper again.
And you're absolutely right. Just sharing that. I lived over in Korea with my job for about 4.5 years. And the big thing that I noticed is that, in the Korean community, everybody basically is one size, and there's not a lot of different options. So A together with B, and you have a garment, no darts, no curves or anything like that. And I made an attempt to work with some of the designers over there on my sports bra project. And it wasn't well received because, first of all, when I would show my sports bra in the various sizes of patterns that were already graded, they was blown away. Like, what? I'm like, hey, these are Western boobs. These are Western sized boobs. And they were like, ah! Oh my God. I felt like I should have been getting paid as many times as I took off my bra over there, man. But this was all for research. This is, a Western size sports bra. And one thing that was very discouraging, you mentioned, don't get discouraged and don't stop. It was like if that fashion industry did not understand a concept or a design, they didn't want to learn it. It's almost like, hey, I've been doing this for 50 years. It's been working. I don't want to learn nothing about your 3D breast. And I was like, okay, so I said, okay, well, here is not where, this project is supposed to be. So fast forward, coming back here to America, it's still a great idea. And it eventually one day will get off the ground, but I'm just really having a great time with this podcasting and leadership concepts and fixing broken manager subordinate relationships. I'm having a great time with that. So yeah, I don't consider the bra a failure. It's just something else in my toolkit that I'm going to use at a later time. Ella, you believe and you feel that you are living in your purpose. Every second of this conversation that we've had, I'm like, she is really living in her purpose because one, she enjoys it. She's learning from it and she's passing on her expertise to others. So I really do believe that you are living in your God-given purpose. And plus you are having a great time. And it's just really interesting to see, very interesting to see. So what can we expect from Ella within the next 3 to 5 years? What are some of the projects that you're working on now? What are some of the aspirations? What's in your toolkit for the near future?
So, yes, you mentioned that you think that I'm living my purpose, and that is absolutely true. I definitely someone who I believe I'm living on purpose. I believe I am living my purpose, and I'm grateful for it every day. Because I know that I am here to create beauty, and that's my purpose. And my mission is, the meaning that I bring to this is we all must share the love. That's my purpose, to create beauty and share the love.
And that's interesting. You mentioned that because right before I went to Korea, me and you, I think we went out for Indian food and we came back to your studio and we sat in the car and you said, before we got out the car, you said some very, very resonating words. You said, Jeanette, this will work if you faint not. Just keep going. And that was like 4.5 years ago. And I'm like, wow. So you have definitely been a blessing to me. And I'm sure you have been a blessing to so many other people. And did you ever think it would get this big? You have blown up. Did you ever think it would get this far?
That's so funny you say that because I don't see it as big. I'm here making clothes and I'm enjoying myself and, hoping to surround myself with people that are enjoying the same thing. I view my business as my ministry. This is my ministry and I love my work. I create beautiful works and I share them with people. I love my community and I serve my community. And that's what I'm here for. I'm here to serve. I love what I do. I also think that this pandemic that we are experiencing right now has opened our eyes and our hearts to the things that we have overlooked for so long in our hustle to have more, to earn more, to do more. Boy, were we so busy. And the simple truth is that we're here to love and to share that love with one another and share it freely. And that's what we are here for.
Yeah. And, that's very interesting. You say that because just looking at everything. And, I've been, even when I was overseas, we are connected on social media sites. So just being able to watch everything that you have been doing. But just one thing that I enjoy the most is the customers. The customers, the bride in that dress, just smiling at the wedding.
That's an amazing feeling. And one of the most wonderful things about doing what I do is being able to see that emotion on someone's face when they put on their beautiful garment that we have created just for them. That is such a satisfying and fulfilling thing to be able to experience that. When somebody is so happy and it brings them so much joy, it in turns brings me so much joy because it's what I love. That's what I love. That's absolutely my passion and something that I want to experience more. of before, as you say, I go to the beach.
You can bring your studio to the beach, right?
Yes.
Wow. This has really, really been a treat. This has really been a blessing to I'm telling you, Ella, you have no idea that picture. We were right in, the middle of New York City, and we took this amazing photo, and I'm like, it's almost like, you remember that one photo that was going around where it was a war sailor, and, he just walked up to this one girl and kissed her, and nobody never knew, like, who were these two people? And it's been years. So, I mean, that photo would just live with me forever. But as we get ready to close up here right now, give the audience like some parting thoughts on like leadership and entrepreneurship. You did a great job with tying your faith into everything. You really do believe that I believe it's obvious that you're living in your purpose because, like I mentioned, you enjoy it and you are impacting the lives of so many people, so just give us those last food for thought on leadership and entrepreneurship.
Well, thank you, Jeanette. My whole purpose or mission is to preserve free enterprise and promote entrepreneurship so that it's available for the next generation of spirited people. And just whatever it is that you decide, whatever it is that you put your mind and heart to, you can accomplish that. If there's something burning in your heart, if there's some passion that you feel is tugging at your heart, you can go and do that. You have absolutely nothing that is stopping you or will stop you from doing that. You must persevere. If there's a desire in your heart, you absolutely have to do it, because that is how universe speaks to you. And that is something that if you continue to pursue it, it will bring you more than you ever thought possible. It will bring you joy, the kind of joy that nothing else brings, because you only feel that satisfaction, that fulfillment with fulfilling your purpose, with achieving not the titles and, the accoutrements of success. You feel that joy only by satisfying those deep desires of your heart.
Right.
And just stay focused, put one foot in front of another. There's going to be challenges. There's going to be critics. There's definitely going to be a lot of those. And people that will laugh at you. There'll be people that will laugh at you and think that you are nuts. But you just have to keep going. To keep going. And you have to keep encouraging yourself. There will be people that will encourage you, but then at some point, those that encourage you will also get busy with their own things, simply as that. It's not that they don't want to encourage you anymore or support you anymore. They get busy. People have things going on in their lives and they will just not be there. So those are the times that you must not give up. Those are the times that you really have to learn how to encourage yourself and how to feed your own passion, how to replenish yourself. And you have to learn how to do that so that you not only can do it for yourself, but you can do that for others. Because that is so important, because we rise by lifting each other.
Exactly.
We have to lift each other up.
Yep. Each one, teach one. One of my favorite sayings is, I tell people this a lot, teamwork makes the dream work. And nobody, even though sometimes we can say, I did it alone, I did it by myself. No, I don't really believe that's true. I think regardless of how minimal the task or minimal the request was, everybody needs somebody to get to where they're going.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
We are here for each other. We have to support each other, love each other, encourage each other, and be kind to each other. Do good, simply as that. Do good to people. That's why we're here. We are here to love each other and do good to each other.
To everyone, regardless.
Correct. Especially to those who would rather not be. They're the ones that really need our kindness.
Yes, they the ones that need it the most. That's why I do this podcast, because I had a really bad experience with leadership when I was in Korea. And, I didn't lash out. I said, you know what? Maybe this person is hurting. What happened before they got to work the next morning? What happened in a prior situation? Everybody has good. I really do believe that. But there's something in our life or something in our path that transpires or takes place to, I'll say, throw us off, not changes, but it just kind of changes the dial a little bit. So I think everybody has the ability to get back to where they used to be. Now, some people are just innately evil. I believe that. They wake up in the morning and like, who can I destroy today? I really do believe some of those people are out there, and maybe they might not have always been that. But there's something that happened throughout their journey that threw off their compass. And now sometimes they just need a little bit of encouragement and kindness. Like you mentioned, be kind to people regardless, to find their way back. And I believe it's possible. But a lot of times people love being the victims. They love being in that space and they're stuck there. But the purpose of this podcast is to hear all these amazing stories such as yours. And all the other people that I have interviewed so far, people learned from those, because everybody that hears your voice today, Ella, they can relate. They needed to hear something that you said. They were in the right place at the right time, listening to the correct podcast number to get that encouragement. So I believe nothing is by accident. Everything happens for a reason. And our friendship happened for a reason, Ella, because you have always encouraged me to be a better version of myself.
When the student is ready, the teacher appears. And I feel that I'm always in the right place at the right time to learn something new. So that's how it works. And I'm just super grateful, just like you, to have had amazing people in my life that have taught me amazing lessons. And I continue to learn from everyone who walks in the door and everyone I meet and everyone who inevitably becomes my friend.
Okay, that's beautiful. But before we go, can you please share your business contact information just in case someone would like to reach out to you? We would want to know maybe your website address and your email, just so someone can contact you if they desire.
I'll just give my phone number because that's probably the easiest way to reach me. It's 410-698-8606. That's my cell phone number, and I'm happy to answer calls and text messages.
Hey, what is the address and location of the studio?
It is 20 East Timonium Road, Timonium, Maryland, 21093.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. I'm sure if someone wants to get prepared for that wedding or for that fabulous engagement, call Ella and she will hook you up.
Thank you. Yes, we would love to do that. That's what makes our hearts sing.
Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for enjoying this amazing podcast today where we talk about leadership, we talk about engagement, we talk about entrepreneurship. You just heard an amazing story of entrepreneurship and resiliency and purpose. And I'm really hoping that this program has really shined some light on your life today. And join us again on the Speak, Inspire, Love, and Leadership podcast.